Hello, everybody, and welcome. Thank you once again for taking out your time to join me tonight. I call tonight's video Attention All Parents, guys, but not just parents, but just women in general, um, just those of us that are out here trying to make things happen, guys. We know that we're in a pandemic, in a time of crisis, and sometimes, especially parents, but women overall, we find ourselves caring for everybody else, and a lot of times we neglect ourselves. So I just wanted to do a safety check tonight just to let you know that I'm here and that I'm thinking of you and that you are on my mind. So for all of those that are joining in with me tonight, go ahead and like and share this video if you would. And if you are catching this on the replay on YouTube or SoundCloud, I appreciate you guys just joining in. I don't want to hold you long tonight. I just wanted to just check in with you just to remind you that we know that we get busy doing our wifely duties and our parental duties and just trying to still keep the career going and thinking of ways we can generate income, just on our grind all together, guys. I just want to check in with you to remind you to not neglect yourself. We need you, guys. After all is said and done, when all this passes over and the new begins, we need you to be at your best. So that's why I'm here tonight. I want you to be encouraged because I know we can be so bogged down trying to cook the meals and trying to make sure the kids get their lesson and trying to make sure the husbands are all right, just trying to make sure the household doesn't fold over during this time. And we can be so overwhelmed. It can affect our sleep. It can affect how we're uh, consuming our nutrition. Some of us are eating a little too much. Some of us are not eating enough, just trying to make sure that our families are okay. And a lot of times, I know if you like me and you're doing all these things, you're not able to share that with anybody. You're taking on so many roles and you're trying to keep so much of it together that you don't usually share what you're feeling or your emotions with other people. But I wanted you guys to know that I am here and I am thinking of you, and there's not a day that goes by that you're not on my heart or on my mind, guys. So don't think that you're going through this and that you are alone. That is the least. Because as long as I have a voice and a mind and I can stroll through and I'm just making that connection with you. However, guys, I am thinking of you and I love you, and all of your hard work is not going unnoticed. Okay, so I need you to know that today. So I just wanted to check in with all you guys just to kind of see how you're doing. How are you doing, guys? And we're quick to say, well, I'm fine or I'm making it. But if you're not okay, know that you're not alone and that it's okay to reach out to someone that you trust. That's most important. Oftentimes we think, well, we have a husband or the kids, but sometimes we just need somebody else that we can reach out to and to just lean on. And in these times of crisis and isolation and so many things that are going on, some of you guys have lost jobs, some of your hours have been cut back, and and in the midst of all of the things that you can't control, life still goes on. And that can be so traumatizing to us. So, one thing I want you also to keep in mind, guys, is that you are valuable. You are valuable. Your value and your worth is not tied and connected to a job. It's not tied and connected to an income. So if you're in a situation to where you have been faced with so many drastic changes, don't neglect to make the necessary decisions and choices that you need to make for you and your family. And if that means getting together with a trusted friend and y'all have to pull together to make things happen, then you, by golly, do what you need to do to make it happen. Now, I know some of you are in the house with small children or school-age children. My children are grown, but they're college students and they're in and out. Also, I have extended family that are also in and out. And we cater to them and we try to make things happen. But in the long run, guys, we have to not only make sure that they're learning and continuing to educate themselves, but parents, we need to be learning and educating ourselves as well. When the job plays out, what else do we have that we can do or that we can bring of value to this world? Whether it's finding ways on media to generate income, whether it's using what you have in your household to generate income, whether it's swapping services so that you and someone you're close to are able to come together and keep the house afloat, whatever it is that you can do to grow during this time, now is the time to do it. If you can't find anything, if you search my page throughout the day, a lot of times I come across some good stuff and I come across people that are connecting, and they're people just like you and I. And if we can just tap into some of that and grab a hold to the alliances and things like that they've already formed and are doing well and just learning and growing from them, checking out some of these webinars, checking out some of these classes that they're offering via online. A lot of it's free. Some of it you'll run across that costs a little bit of money. If you can afford it, do it. But if not, there's so many other free things, guys. Do what you have to do to keep making it happen so that you can feel valuable. Because I know that when we're taking care of the household and we're worried about where the next meal comes from, we don't always feel good about ourselves. So another thing I want to encourage you guys to do is to eat at home. Now, I know a lot of these fast food restaurants and things like that are still opening up the drive-throughs and after your money and things like that. But I challenge you guys to just eat at home. Look up on YouTube some crock pot meals. Look up easy recipes that anybody can do. If you do that, you're not only setting your family up for better health, but you're also saving and stretching your finances just a little bit farther. Because I know that one of the things that parents we worry about the most is the health of our family and our finances, and they are divinely connected together. So if we can start with just good nutrition, and it doesn't have to cost us much. When we look at these recipes that we can go in the store and get $30 worth of groceries for this week and make it scratch throughout the week and have this to where we're providing our family with good nourishment and not spending that $5 or $10 a day running through the drive-through. If we can learn to do that, it would be so beneficial. And not only that, it takes some of the stress off of us. I'm less stressed when I know my kids can walk through the door and there's a hot meal waiting for them. And that meal sometimes only costs me $2 or $3 to prepare. Well, that $2 or $3 is a whole lot more cost efficient than me going through the drive-through and spending $20 or $30 for all of us to eat just at one time. So there is a way that, we can make it easier on ourselves. And sometimes we just have to be reminded to use what we have. Our grandparents, I think back on our grandparents and our great grandparents, for some of us that can think back, that had a long family lineage, how they were poor and they struggled, but not only that, they depended on one another. And they believed in doing whatever it took to make sure that there was some type of food on the table. Now I realize sometimes today we don't have those skills like, say, they did, but if we would just be willing to pull up a recipe on how to do things and just be willing to try it. So what if we try and fail or mess up? If they're like my family, they're going to eat it anyway. I put together some stuff in the kitchen here lately, and which I've always have done that, but here lately I've really been pulling together some stuff, and I have no idea what it is, but they seem to eat it. And so it provides not only supper, but it provides lunch for the next day, and sometimes even a snack throughout the day before I have to cook again the next evening. So it goes a long way. Tonight I have my crock pot sitting out on the counter. My husband, he was so nice to do that. Put it out on the table, and I'm going to go over and wash up some dry beans and put some beans on tonight, and it'll cook all night. So tomorrow when we get up, I'll make some cornbread, and we'll have beans and cornbread for dinner tomorrow. You know what? That bag of beans probably only cost me $1, a little more, a little less, but it goes a long ways, guys. So that's a whole meal that I get to feed my family, and it's hardly nothing hitting my pocketbook. So these are just things I want you guys to, what was that? Let's see, pinto beans and cornbread sure is good. Goes a long way. You're right about it. So, Miss Karen, you're right. It goes a long ways, and it's nourishing, and you can play around with those bean recipes and give it a good different taste, different flavors, different herbs. One thing I like to add to mine is a package of taco seasoning into mine, and boy, it sure gives it a different kind of flavor. So guys, it's so many things that we can do to eliminate stress. Another thing, parents, when I'm telling you not to neglect yourself, when was the last time you had a good long hot bath? A good long hot bath just seems to just ease the mind. Dimming the lights, listening to something, some music or whatever it is, that can help, depending on if you use bath salts and things like this in your water, can help really detox your body, and it's so refreshing. So that's another thing you can do to just kind of detox your mind and your body, and to just calm down and to just be free for that 10 or 15 minutes. Your family can tend to themselves for 10 or 15 minutes to give you a little time to just kind of debrief the day. Do you hear me? We need to debrief. We take on so much. We're overstimulated throughout the day. Look, my day starts from the time my feet hit the floor, and here I am at 10:14 at night, and I'm still going, and I still have another hour and a half to get done, because my work doesn't start until everybody goes to bed. So now here I am still having a lot that I have to accomplish, because this is the time to where my brain goes to work. It's time for me now to get on my grind to figure out what I can do to keep things rolling. So a nice warm bath, sometimes 10 or 15 minutes, that just does it all. That does it all for me. It just makes everything better. And then I'm ready for the next hour and a half, ready for the next day, just ready to move forward. And I know that a lot of times we enjoy a lot of the things that we do, so we don't really look at it as stress. But there's good stress and there's bad stress, guys. So we have to keep this in mind. And if we're not in a good place and if we don't take care of us, then who's going to take care of the family when we're down and out? You see what I'm saying? So we have to take the steps to take care of ourselves. Also, guys, get you a nice hot cup of tea. Tea does wonders for the soul. Now, some of you may say, well, I don't like tea. Well, whatever you like that's good and hot and that you can just sip on and just relax and just take it all in. Find yourself doing just that. Because parents, we need that. Women, we need that. We need it. We have to take care of us. The hustle and bustle of life, if we don't, then it's going to consume us. But I want you to know overall that you are not alone and that you are thought of. And please, by all means, reach out if you need me. I am here for you. All right, guys, I hope that you have a good night. I hope that you are resting well. And most of all, I hope that through all of this, that you find yourself loving yourself and taking care of yourself. All right, guys, have a good night.